Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into the daily extravaganza known as the Bucknuts Morning 5. I am Dave Biddle, and the date is Monday, January 26, 2015. There is plenty to discuss, including the huge recruiting weekend that Ohio State just wrapped up, and we'll get to that later in the show with our Alex Gleitman. But first, I want to talk about Saturday's national championship celebration and some takeaways I had from the event and some of the interesting comments that were made at the event. First of all, kudos to Gene Smith, who served as basically the MC. I've been critical of Gene, but I think he's really settled into his role. He's doing a good job, and I thought he did a great job at the event on Saturday. Everything he said to the crowd and about the team and about the fans and even the wives of the coaches and the parents of the players, I thought all of that was completely on point, and I wanted to give Gene Smith some much-deserved praise. The entire event was extremely well done by Ohio State. I especially liked the features on the video board throughout the event, as well as the speeches from Urban Meyer, Joey Bosa, and of course Ezekiel Elliott. And how about the magnificent three quarterbacks, as Meyer referred to them, Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, and Cardale Jones, all of who spoke to the over 45,000 fans in attendance amid rousing applause. It was just 31 degrees out there, and of course more than 45,000 fans were in attendance, so Buckeye Nation represents as usual, no surprise there. As for Braxton, he sounded very sincere to me that he's coming back to Ohio State as a fifth-year senior, and I've been skeptical that he would come back for quite some time. Listening to what Braxton said during the event, it's easy to assume he will definitely be back if healthy. But his health is, of course, a monumental question mark after 2 surgeries in as many years to his right/throwing shoulder. However, what really struck me was after the event when a handful of reporters, myself included, had a brief interview with Urban Meyer. When asked by Tim May of the Columbus Dispatch about Braxton saying he's going to return for Ohio State for the 2015 season, Meyer replied, quote, "I guess that's what he said. I don't know. We've been talking all along, and it's a unique situation. We'll cover that later." End quote. Now keep in mind, every time Meyer had previously been asked about Miller, he said he expected Braxton would be back in 2015. Now Meyer is saying it's a unique situation, one they will address later. That's a far cry from, "I expect he will be back." If Braxton does return to Ohio State, I think there's a good chance he will move to a different position, something in the H-back slot receiver realm. This story will be interesting to follow all offseason for sure, just like the battle to be Ohio State's starting quarterback between J.T. Barrett and Cardale Jones, and yes, maybe Braxton Miller as well. I'm really impressed with the camaraderie among the quarterbacks, and for the entire team for that matter. There were no cliques on the 2014 Buckeyes. Didn't matter age, race, what position you played. The Buckeyes were a united front, and it's a big reason they won the national championship. Now for the latest on the huge recruiting weekend that the Buckeyes just concluded, let's go out to our Alex Gleitman.
The Buckeyes hosted their first junior day on Sunday, yesterday, January 25th, but on Saturday was a big event as well in the recruiting world as the Buckeyes celebrated their 8th national title. Some big names on campus in the classes of 2015, 2016, and 2017. And ultimately, the weekend ended with Ohio State picking up commitments from 2016 tight end Jake Hausman and 2017 offensive lineman Josh Myers. Both of these were big pickups for Ohio State, landing in-state talents. Top 10 inside the state. Josh Myers, number 3 overall player in 2017. Absolutely huge to get the country's best offensive tackle. Jake Hausman, one of the better tight ends in the nation, a top 100 player in the 24/7 sports composite. So that was big news, but I think everyone wants to know, how are the Buckeyes going to finish this class, just a week before National Signing Day here. And 2 things I'm hearing is, first, wide receiver KJ Hill from North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm hearing he had an excellent visit, and I would be very surprised at this point to hear he's going anywhere other than Ohio State. Right now, Hill is planning to make a visit to either Arkansas, where he was previously committed to, or Ole Miss next weekend. We'll see if those visits are still on. He was at Alabama last weekend, but it looks like the Crimson Tide may not have room for Hill at this point in their class. And by all things, that we know, great relationship with Chris Ash, good relationship building with Zach Smith, Urban Meyer, Hill, and his parents actually had a private personal dinner over the weekend, and that's what I'm hearing kind of sealed the deal for the Hill family. They loved everything about Columbus and everything the Buckeyes had to offer their son. Moving on to Beckner, very little information out there right now. We'll obviously try to catch up with Terry himself, his coaches, and whatnot. But what we're hearing from some of the recruits that were in attendance is that Beckner was having a very good time hanging out with Jayshon Cornell, Justin Hilliard, Jerome Baker, Eric Glover-Williams, some of the other commits that were there, and some of the players ahead of him. He already had a really good relationship with Chris Ash that Ash has built up this entire year. And Larry Johnson, he just comes in almost like a father figure to these guys, and he just builds a really strong bond, a trusting bond, and we're hearing that was the case with Beckner. I still think Missouri might be the front runner just on paper, but Ohio State certainly gave Terry a lot to think about this weekend. He does head to Columbia next week, but just between everything this weekend and having Ezekiel Elliott and Stacey Elliott there to kind of help put the Buckeyes in a good position, Ohio State certainly has a shot with Beckner as we head toward National Signing Day.
Thank you, Alex. Good insights as always. By the way, after Alex recorded his segment last night, we learned Ohio State offered 3-star 2015 defensive tackle Devon Hamilton from Pickerington Central, and Alex expects that Hamilton will commit to the Buckeyes. Hamilton is 6'3", 285 pounds, and is ranked as the number 88 defensive tackle in the country per the 24/7 Sports Composite. There's always a recruit that comes out of the blue in the final stages of the recruiting process every year, and that recruit is Hamilton this year for the Buckeyes. And I hope I'm just reading too much into this, but Hamilton suddenly receiving an offer at the last moment, so to speak, makes me wonder if Ohio State staff isn't all that confident about landing Beckner. But I hope I'm wrong, because Beckner could be a difference maker from day one. If not as a starter, then at least a guy that gets in the D-tackle rotation for the Buckeyes as a freshman in 2015. It will be interesting to see what happens with Beckner and Hamilton, and we'll keep you updated on the site all day. On the basketball front, Ohio State picked up its biggest win of the season thus far when they toppled visiting Indiana 82-70 yesterday. D'Angelo Russell had his latest spectacular game with 22 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. And those stats would have been even better if not for cramps that limited his minutes late in the game. What a treat it is to watch that young man play. Fellow freshman Jayshawn Tate also had a great game for the Buckeyes with 20 points and 6 rebounds. He's a future star. Ohio State is now 16-5 overall, and they're tied for 4th place in the Big Ten at 5-3. The Buckeyes will host number 13 Maryland on Thursday at 7 p.m., Big win over the Hoosiers, who beat Ohio State in Bloomington January 10th, 69-66. And now we'll see if Ohio State can take care of business against the Terrapins on Thursday. One final quick note, if you're not a Bucknut subscriber, try our buy 1 month, get 2 months free offer. It's a limited time offer, and it's a great deal as you get 3 months of Bucknuts for the price of just $9.95. It takes you through National Signing Day next week, of course, through March Madness, and even through all of Ohio State's spring ball. Take advantage of this offer while it lasts. Buy 1 month for just $9.95 and get 2 months free. Thanks again to Alex Gleitman, and thank you for listening to the show. Take it away, best damn band in the land.